So Wii U's TV ads started airing in the US, and I want to give my opinions on them. First off, and leading up to the ads actually appearing on television and in theaters, it's been shown before the previews in Wreck-It Ralph, and I actually saw it for the first time in theaters when I went to see that movie. I'm seeing a lot of buzz on forums, people criticizing Nintendo, saying, "Oh, they're waiting too long. They're not advertising it. People don't know about it yet. They're waiting till the last minute to advertise it, and they're messing up because they're waiting too long to advertise it." And the thing is, you have to. This isn't Nintendo's first system. This is their sixth home system. Uh, this is the same. The lead up to the advertising for Wii U has been the same. They basically started advertising Wii on TV. That's about the same time as the ads are appearing now for Wii U. It was only a couple of weeks before it came out. Really, it wasn't like it's not. The thing people have to realize is this is not like when a video like a hardcore video game is coming out where they advertise it for weeks and weeks and or maybe months ahead of launch, and then they have a period of maybe 2 or 3 weeks where they have to sell the vast majority of the units they're ever going to sell for that product in just the period immediately after the game comes out. With a system, everyone who's going to get it between this year is probably known about it for at least a year already. The people who are going to be out there on during launch period, lined up to get the system, have known about this system since the first rumors for it came out in early 2011. These are people who are well informed about games, who read game news sites, who go on gaming websites and know about when new systems are coming out. So it's really not. They really basically what Nintendo has to do is plant the. They have to seed the public consciousness with awareness that this new system is coming out and this is what it does. And so from that standpoint, it's not important for Nintendo to just spam the airwaves for months in advance, like some fans like what might want if they're running this for themselves. And Nintendo's not running this for people who are already well informed about Wii U. They're running these ads for people who know very little or nothing about Wii U at this point. And also, you have to remember that this is an election year. A lot of the in the U.S. there, we just had a presidential election. A lot of that ad space got bought out. The ad space is a lot more valuable in a presidential election cycle. So now that that's over, Nintendo is probably going to be a lot more able to buy more affordable advertising time on TV. And the main thing when I see the gamers who go on message boards and stuff, who I actually get to see or read or reply to blogs and news sites that pertain to gaming, are basically expecting an advertisement aimed at them for their interests and their tastes. So when they see the ad, like the main Wii U ad, there's like this campaign of like these rooms and sort of cut off boxes, and it's in the shape of a big U and all that. The anchor ad for that sort of advertises the system in general. Uh, there's a lot of dissatisfaction I see, or negative reactions from gamers who have known about Wii U for like a year or more, saying like, "Oh, they didn't advertise it good, and no one's gonna buy it based on this." But the thing is, that Nintendo's not making this ad for them. Most of the people who are sitting around waiting to see this ad, who went out of their way to find the ad on YouTube so they could watch it in their own free time, the people who this ad is targeting are not the people who are going to go out of their way to watch this as a recreational thing. The people who are aimed at this are people who are being basically forced to watch this, or not even have totally pay attention to it as part of as when they're watching this on a show on TV. And with that in mind, you can't. The people who are really into this, who would go out of their way to watch the commercial on YouTube, they're people who probably watched an hour-long presentation for E3 2011 and the online videos Nintendo put out about Wii U during E3 2011, the hour-long pre-E3 2012 show, the hour-long E3 presentation, the second E3 presentation, and the 2 or 3 Nintendo Directs between E3 and the launch of Wii U. Not to mention reading up lots of reviews and hands-on impressions from news sites. So you have hours and hours of Wii U content, and you can't expect Nintendo to condense that into something that's 30 seconds long for someone who basically doesn't care, who this is their first time hearing about it. They can't tell the entire Wii U story in 30 seconds. What you could tell in 30 seconds is there's a new system coming out and it's going to have a new controller with a new way to play. That's a 30-second story. A 30-second story is, hey, there's a new Mario game coming out for a new Nintendo system, and you can play it using the screen on the controller while someone else watches television. That's a 30-second story. You can't tell this whole story about all the like about and or for instance, hey, there's going to be a first like basically you can't tell the whole story of Wii U in a way that someone who the target audience for this commercial is someone who hasn't seen doesn't know much about Wii U. This is their maybe might be their very first time ever hearing about this. So, and you can't bombard them with information and expect them to retain it or care about it. They're not going to sit through a minute where you showcase all the games and all the systems and all the things this thing can do. You have to condense it into short 30-second stories, like 30-second story of new system, new way to play. 30-second story, new Mario game, you could play it just on the controller. Excuse my dog barking. A 30-second story, hey, Nintendo, there's this new Nintendo TV service that changes the way you can watch TV using the gamepad controller. That's how the best way to condense this into the Wii U, each aspect of it, into something that consumers who've never heard about Wii U before are going to be able to understand and sort of retain over having seen the commercial several times over a period of time. Uh, I like the commercial. Of course, I think it could be better, but I'm very positive about it. One of the main criticisms, and I think it's valid, that like the UK commercials specifically say a brand new console with a brand new controller, and we've had that confusion about in E3 2011 and even in 2012 about people thinking we use a new controller for Wii and not a new console with a new controller. But I don't think that's going to be a problem with the US Wii U commercials because, well, first off, they say the all new Wii U, okay? And at the end, they show the new console and the new controller, and they show it in black, so it's definitely different from the original Wii, which was always showcased in white. And I know just seeing the console next to the controller, some people might think it's just an original Wii on its side. But the thing is, there's this Wii U product. It has to do with the screen and the controller. You see the new controller and the new console, and then when you go to the store, when you see this in stores, it's not like you could buy the Wii U gamepad on its own at this point. At this point, you have to buy the Wii U console to get the Wii U gamepad. So at that point, it'll be pretty. There's no mistaking that this is a new console and a new controller when you can't buy the new gamepad separate from the by its own, then take it home and try to use it with your original Wii. Okay, so that's really not a problem. I don't think that's going to be a problem. And I know Nintendo has said that the reason they're not selling the gamepad separate at this point is because, well, obviously there are no games that utilize two gamepads for multiplayer at this point. But even more obvious, by not selling the gamepad separately, there is now zero chance of some clueless parent having their kids say they want Wii U for Christmas, them going to Toys R Us or Best Buy or GameStop and buying a Wii U gamepad without a console, bringing it home, putting it under the tree, and the kid has a useless controller and no system to play it with. And so, with that in mind, I don't think them not like totally smothering the viewer and a new console, a new controller. They're saying the all new Wii U. We show the console and the controller together at the end. I think it's for the purposes of this point in the Wii U's lifespan. The commercial communicates that message well enough. I want to see so far. I've seen a commercial for the system in general and a commercial for the Wii U gamepad. I want to see a commercial in that same series for Nintendo TV. I want to see a commercial for that, really just for Nintendo Land. I think they might have been one. I don't know. But for Wii U, Zombie U, excuse me. Zombie U should not have the same commercial. It should not be part of that how will you play next thing with the cut off rooms and all that, like with the Mario Brothers Wii commercial. Wii U needs to be Zombie U needs to be advertised in a separate way. I don't think it works as part of the same sort of package. That's a different sort of attitude for a game that it needs to be expressed in a different way. I think, take Metroid Prime 3 for instance. That game was advertised. The TV commercial in the U.S. for Metroid Prime 3 was part of the "We Would Like to Play" campaign. That was the same way they advertised. That's good for selling the idea of the system in general. That's good for selling Wii Sports. But it's not. That's not the way to sell a first-person shooter. With the two Japanese guys, we would like to play and all that. And that really did not communicate the message and the feeling of playing Metroid Prime 3 well, and I think that's why it did not sell as strongly as Nintendo would have liked. Because Metroid Prime 3 was supposed to be, the game that then they showed Metroid Prime 3 for Wii U. I mean, for Wii, like back before they even showed the controller. Nintendo had such big plans for Metroid on Wii, and it was supposed to be the game that established Wii as a system for hardcore first-person shooters, and it just failed to do that. Zombie U needs to be has a distinct and separate commercial explaining how the gamepad enhances the experience of playing a survival horror first-person shooter. So that's my impression of the Wii U ads, and thanks for watching.